Hello, everybody. Welcome into a Monday edition of the Computer America Show. Hope all of you had a wonderful weekend, and we've got an interesting show planned for you. In the first hour, we're going to have a company called Ideum, like museum, Ideum, and we're going to have
Better to hard pronounce the Ideum.
Ideum. Okay, Ideum.
There you
Okay,
go.
there we go. And they're going to be talking about their
1 minute until showtime.
multi-touch solutions, and then in hour two we'll have computer and technology news brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. So sit back, relax, enjoy the show. Also, we'll talk also in the second hour about Apple's keynote address and what was talked about. If you missed it, we have all of it here on Computer America, so sit back and stand by.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live, it's America's longest-running national radio talk show on computers, Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Grossman. Look for Craig's weekly column in your favorite newspaper. This show is being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. Keep it here for technology news, computer products, guest interviews, and your phone calls. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome into the Computer America Show. It's the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. Computer America is heard around the world and coast to coast. And I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And it's Monday!
Hey!
Hey! Well, hopefully all of you had a wonderful weekend, and we're so glad that
Hopefully no one forgot that Sunday was the inauspicious spring forward and did not show up anywhere an hour late.
Yeah, that's right. Because technically it's only 9 p.m. Eastern time, but we sprung forward 1 hour, so now it's 10 o'clock. Longer days, shorter nights, but hopefully all of you, your computers and your smartphones.
See, now that's one thing that was kind of interesting because I remember going to school and before even if you had computers or cell phones, they didn't update automatically. Like you had to either go through the settings or you had to update it or change it manually. But just now, computers update automatically, phones update automatically, some cars update automatically. Like all these things just automatically update. And I had a friend that I was talking to, and he's like, "Man, I just stayed up way too late last night, and I just don't know why." And I was like, "Well, it was daylight savings time." He's like, "It was?" Like every clock in his life changed correctly, but he didn't notice because everything happened automatically.
That's right. You're absolutely right. Now, my watch, though, that I'm wearing, I still have to change manually.
But for a lot of people, it's just their cell phones and their computers, and
automatically.
And that's it.
Yeah, exactly. And so, and then you might not be aware of it. When I woke up that morning, I said, "Wow, I feel a little more sleepy because 1 hour less sleep." And I looked at my phone, and my phone had automatically updated, and I didn't realize that actually we'd lost an hour. But anyhow, we're here now. In hour two, our scheduled guest is not going to be with us. So we're going to do computer and technology news brought to you by Slimware Utilities, and also we're going to discuss Apple's keynote today. Now, I sat and watched the live keynote. You didn't get a chance to see it, did you, Ben? But
Define didn't get a chance to because it was more like didn't want to.
Didn't want to. Okay. Well, that's saying.
But I heard there was a lot going on.
Yeah, there was a lot going on, and we'll talk about that in the second hour of the show. And but in the first hour here, if you want to speak to our guest, the way you can do that is give us a call. It's 347-884-8881. That's 347-884-8881. 407-888-8881 will get you on and we'll get you through. We also have an email address set up when we're live and on the air, and it's live@computeramerica.com, Live, okay? You can also join us in our live interactive chat room. Now, the way you do that is you just go to our homepage at computeramerica.com. You'll see it says Interact with the Show, and the first button there is Chat/Video. So click that button, and you'll get a split screen. On the left-hand side there is the entry form for our chat room. Just pick a username. That's the name you'll be known by when you go into the chat room. Click the Connect button, and your browser will move you into the chat room. A lot of people in there would like to talk with you, and you kind of interact with us. It's a fun way to do so. And then sharing that same screen is our live Computer America video streaming page. It goes, when you go there, it automatically goes live. You don't have to do anything. It just starts up. And so not only can you listen to the Computer America show, you can also watch us on our live Computer America video streaming page. So that's basically how you interact with the show. Of course, the easiest way is pick up the phone, give us a call, 347-884-8881. Anything you want to mention that I might have missed before we get started tonight, Ben?
No, I think we covered a lot, and we should probably just, jump into our first hour guest, and we'll talk about all those cool news stories in the second hour.
I like that. Okay, well, our guest tonight is from a company called Ideum, and Ideum has been a pioneer in the development of multi-touch and multi-user exhibits, developing both the software and hardware for these unique visitor experiences. Ben, have you've gone to like these like kiosks or they have this like big tables, and the entire surface of the table is really computer. It's just very, very interesting. I don't know if you've ever done that or seen that.
I saw it in Iron Man. I did not get to experience that in real life, though.
Now, you went to a museum of the weekend. Did they have it at the museum that you visited?
Oddly enough, the Museum of Japanese Gardens did not have a fully interactive touchscreen tabletop.
Okay. Well, they also had the Science Museum over there, but I guess you didn't go to that one.
And even that, I think, is just kind of showing you how water boils.
Okay. Well, Ideum offers a range of multi-touch hardware solutions to meet the need of any exhibition or installation space. They offer a variety of multi-touch tables and touch wall products. In addition, they can design custom touch tables, touch walls, kiosks, and other types of computer-based installations and environments. They have been designing and building multi-touch tables since 2008. Joining us to explain everything is Jim Spadaccini. He is the founder and creative director of Ideum. Jim, welcome into Computer America. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on.
Yes. So these are very impressive products. Why don't you, I kind of introduced your company, but why don't you tell our listeners about your company and what it actually does?
Sure. Well, Ideum is an interesting company in the sense that it's we kind of operated as a startup, and it feels like a startup, but we've been around since 1999. Mm-hmm. And before I started the company, I worked at the Exploratorium in San Francisco.
Oh, yes.
Which is a hands-on science museum.
Yeah.
And I got very interested in exhibit space, but also in what kind of where computers were headed and the possibilities for creating more compelling experiences, more experiences that were more social, more immersive, and that was a big impetus for starting the company. And the company's grown now to we have over 34 employees.
So, how did you get into making multi-touch tables?
So we traditionally we've been a software company, and we've developed software, and we did a lot of media development as well, and web development in the early 2000s. And multi-touch technology started to emerge, and we got very interested in it, and we looked around and tried to find a hardware partner, and didn't really find anybody out there. So at the same time, we had someone who applied for a programming job who had built some of these things on his own. And we hired him. His name's Paul Lacey, and he's our CTO. Mm-hmm. And he has, he's basically been the engine in a lot of ways for the hardware business. and we've been doing that really for the last 7 years now.
Really? So he already he had the design knowledge that making these types of devices, but when he came to the company, I mean, how did you find him?
He had, well, that's kind of funny. He had applied for the position, and he's like, well, he's British, so he's like, I've been working on this in my garage, and he had been developing, with very low cost materials, some of these DIY kind of projects, and I said, well, that'd be great. We'd love to have you come on, but we want to try to build a prototype, and we started working in wood. And that lasted maybe a month, and then we started working in aluminum. So I mean, I think part of it was too is that I understood what it takes in the museum world. Being at the Exploratorium, when you get 500,000 visitors, touching an exhibit, that part of the process was hardening it, not just making it work, but making it ultra reliable for museum floor. So, from that point on, we've really collaborated in the process, and we've, as we've grown, we've drawn in other people with different areas of expertise to really create products that are incredibly durable, incredibly reliable, and very, very turnkey. And that's really that's sort of the basis for the hardware business. But again, the hardware business was really a platform for us to explore the things we wanted to explore in software. It's just nobody was making the hardware we wanted to use.
Now, did he come up with the name of the company, Ideum, or was that yours?
No, a friend of mine came up with the name Ideum, and I think this was in 1999, and he had, I think at the time it was like the last five-letter, domain name available, at .com, .net, .org. And so he had come up with it, and I guess it's sort of a play on ideas in media or Ideum, museum.
Well, you see,
so
you see, that's so endearing about the British. They always put the accents on the wrong syllable, So
yeah, no, that would have been helpful.
Yeah.
But my first friend said, because I said, what if people pronounce it idiom, and he said, only Maroons or idiots would pronounce it that way. But unfortunately, it's a lot of other people who I wouldn't put in that category pronounce it wrong. But it is what it is, and again, it's the name of the company, and it's a good domain name, and it's easy to remember. So
well,
there you go.
Well, speaking about geographic influences, your company is located in Corrales, New Mexico, and you would think that you would be in like Silicon Valley or something. How did you wind up in Corrales?
It's sort of an unlikely place in some ways. We love Corrales, New Mexico. We are proud to be in Corrales, New Mexico. Corrales, New Mexico has about 8,000 people. It's a small town just north of Albuquerque on the Rio Grande, and I think about 2 years ago, we beat out the Mercantile as the biggest employer in town. But it's a great place to live. When we moved here, and then this is still true, there's no piped water, there's no street lights or stoplights, there's no sewers.
Oh, boy.
There's not much infrastructure, but there was fiber running through the center of town. So, and that's kind of all we needed. So, and we had.
But
we
why?
live in a rural village, and it's a great lifestyle, and it's great for our employees, and we love it.
So you were looking for a rural. You wanted to get away from the humbug of the cities, and that was the main motivation, and yet still have internet. That's what you said.
Yeah, I mean that was part of it. We had this realization, like we could have our company anywhere we want, and we had worked on a project out at Chaco Canyon, Chaco Culture National Historic Park in the northwestern part of the state, and I think we had 2 trips budgeted for that project, and on the 5th trip, we decided like, hey, maybe we could live here, because we love the state, we love the people and the culture and the geography. It's a great place to live. And we started in California, and and frankly, California is a harder place to run your business. I love California, but I really we wanted to try to do something different. And in retrospect, doing the kind of hardware stuff that we do in particular, I think would have been harder in California than it is where we are.
Well, do you get better tax breaks or stuff? I mean, is it?
Well, some of it is better tax breaks, but I mean, frankly, when we were in California, and this was many years ago, but we had everything from rolling blackouts to tripling of, workers' compensation
Sure.
to, a lot of competition for talent, because there's a lot of very talented people, but there's a lot of very hungry companies and a lot of capital.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a bit of a trade-off, but we're very happy with where we landed, and I'm still in California, usually once a month or once every 2 months for business. But we're happy to have the company in New Mexico.
There you go.
I wouldn't be surprised to hear more companies out there going with pretty much your exact explanation, because in the age of the internet, sure, maybe going into the office every day is kind of a hindrance, but in some ways you can share ideas, Beijing to Germany, and in a couple seconds. Like, there's really, other than maybe just having your employees get to work on time, there's really no reason to have it in any one location compared to another.
Yeah.
And I do think that, Ben, I think that's right. And there's a quality of life, and we have, like most tech companies, we have very young people, and most of the young people at our company own their own homes, and that'd be unheard of in California. So there are some significant advantages in being out where we are, and we're always playing. We're playing right away, but the internet connects us, and we have our own culture that we try to develop as well. So.
All right, so tell us a little bit about these tables you saw. What I should have done is I should try calling you on your cell phone. I think your cell phone would have been less noisy than your landline, and I may do that at the bottom of the hour here because we're sort of battling.
Yeah,
this.
that'd be fine.
But tell us a little bit about these tables you sell. These are multi-touch tables. What are they? Why don't you give us an overview? What do you use them for? What are they used for?
Well, they're used for a variety of different applications. I mean, the primary purpose, or what we initially got interested in building them for, was for museum exhibits. And what really drew us to the form factor was this idea that these could be a gathering place, and in the same way that people gather around the kitchen table, there's an inherent social quality to these types of devices. And in fact, your software can either enhance that or degrade it, really. But there's something inherently social about gathering around the table, and it's a unique form factor. And for public spaces, this isn't something that people have in their homes for the most part. So there's a novelty factor, and that's actually important too. As far as like what actually happens on the table, it can be anything from collaborative applications that explore any topic. So in some ways you can do with obviously a touch interface in mind, you can do anything you could want to run on a PC or even on Android, and we've run Android on some of our larger tables as well, and we sell Android-based tables as well as PC.
Let me ask you this. This comes to mind. You watch TV, I assume. You ever watch? You ever watch Hawaii Five-0?
No, but I know all the show. People bring to my attention all of the shows that have touch tables.
Exactly.
Oh, it's just like CSI, or it's just like Hawaii Five-0.
Yeah, when you watch Hawaii, you should watch it so you understand when people ask you that, because that's what they
Why
have.
does he have to understand it? He's creating it.
Yeah, I mean, so is it something like that, or is it similar to what you do? I mean, the tables you see.
Sure.
Depicted?
I mean, if you go to our website, if you go to ideum.com and you look at some of the videos that we have on the site, you'll see instantly. Yeah, it's very much like that. And I think the idea is that what makes that exciting on a TV show is the same thing that makes it exciting in real life. Is it's a new and novel way to interact, and usually you're interacting with other people, and that's what's a little different than most of your computing experiences. I mean, if you think about it, the big events in computing history in the last 10 years is mobile, but it's still one person and one device. This, we're talking about multiple people interacting, and some of our larger tables, you can have as many as 8 people interacting simultaneously with the same device. That's different. That's different from a design standpoint, and just some, terms of social interaction.
Well, yeah, I mean, but they have different things. For example, what they can do, what I've seen them do, is they'll see something that's of interest, and they'll take it and they'll flick it, and it'll go off the table and up onto a wall screen. I've seen that. Or they'll have, let's say, they'll take a smartphone and they'll place a smartphone on the table, and they'll be able to extract information from the phone. I don't know if that's Hollywood or if that's actually true, or is it something that's on the on the table? Something that's in the works. Yeah, exactly. What's the story with things like that?
So what's interesting about that is that those have been around conceptually for many years.
Mm-hmm.
Microsoft Surface had something about that. We even developed a little bit of a prototype, which we called the dynamic desktop, which if you searched for that, you'd probably find our video for it.
Mm-hmm.
And there is this idea that, oh, it's going to be magic, and I'm going to take this cell phone and put it down on the table, and it's going to recognize and pull this information. But there's actually, it's a little more complicated in actually achieving that. So there are examples of that, but there aren't really widespread examples of that. And there are prototypes of that, but again, it's not the kind of thing that's in production. I can't sell you a multi-touch table, Craig, tomorrow that would, that you could put your phone on and it would read your phone.
Okay.
But in a couple of years, yeah, I bet we will be able to.
All right. And what about that flicking action where you can take a page or something and flick it off to a different screen that's on a different location in the wall or something along that type of thing? That also can.
Yeah, that's much more possible, and that can already be done. I think the main hindrance for that tends to just be that you need multiple pieces of hardware, and you need some way to communicate between them.
Sure.
But we've done some installations that have allowed that to happen.
Okay.
It's not something that's sort of a standard thing because these tables are expensive. They're generally
Sure.
$7,000 and above, so they're not inexpensive devices.
So, Jim, then why don't you tell us about the tables that you sell? I mean, and what are they used for?
Sure. Well, we sell a wide range of tables. And, it started out with everything kind of being, we had one table long ago, and it was 31 inches tall because that's what Americans with Disability Act, said was the height of a table for a museum exhibit. And, we, at that point, 75% of our tables were sold in the museum world. Now, I want to say maybe 15 or 20% of our tables are sold to museums, maybe less, and yet that market has grown, incredibly. So that'll just give you an idea. So now we're selling tables, everything from 42-inch coffee tables, all the way up to 184-inch, multi-touch tables.
Wow.
And a lot of, probably our bread and butter tables are 55-inch, 65-inch tables, both flat and drafting table format.
So, what are they using these tables for? I mean, I understand the museums, but what take that out of the loop. What are these tables being used for?
So a lot of them are being used for trade shows. A lot of them are being used for corporate lobbies. A lot of them are being used in IT labs at universities. Some are being used in student lounges. We're seeing more and more being used in retail, including things like banking and real estate. So we've seen this emergence of vertical markets kind of across the board. And that's what's been exciting, too, because we get a lot of energetic companies that are starting to develop software or that are looking to use hardware along with other services that they provide in these vertical markets, and they're starting to reach out. And we're also, so we've really seen a spread, across the board in everything from architecture and construction to, real estate, banking, labs, government agencies, trade shows. So a lot of different purposes. Where I guess it's really, a lot of it is wherever you want people to have an opportunity to collaborate, to communicate. That's what these big screens are really useful for. If you think about it, individual screens are a great way to separate people, right? You go to the party and people are talking on their phone, or looking on their phone. They're not communicating with each other. This is a shared, collaborative computing experience.
So,
you mentioned something about price earlier, and $7,000, and I know this. Some of that, if not a lot of that, is going to go into the actual manufacturing. You guys said that you use aircraft-grade aluminum. You actually put in pretty hard manual labor into building these things. But we see this all the time in the consumer space, where a television will come out, and when it's first, let's just use the latest, 4K, UHD, OLED, curved, whatever other acronym you want to put in there, and they start out at like $25,000, and then a year and a half later they're down to $10,000, and then another year they're down to $6,000. Are you seeing price drops like that in your field? Because I know that, like I said, there's a lot of manufacturing going into this, but the software side or at least the hardware side for computer components, you guys said you started in 1999. They have to be getting cheaper.
Sure. No, Ben, it's a great question, and I think, we have seen that happen. What's different is that, when you're looking at a Samsung television or something, you're looking at, hundreds of thousands that get produced. So you wind up with big manufacturing runs, and huge capacity, and generally cheaper materials that go into it. While there's some technology that goes into it, you have signal boards, and you have the LED panel, and you have other pieces. Most of the materials are plastic or very thin aluminum kind of parts. Our stuff, pretty thick aluminum. It's done in small quantities. Each one's hand built. So and we know for a fact that other folks are going to come in, particularly at starting in the smaller sizes, and we're going to enter this market with mass manufactured stuff that's going to be lower quality or cheaper materials. But that's not really what we're about. Like, we're really trying to create a touch table that will be in a public space and be there, for several years, and be, very easy to operate. That'll just be incredibly reliable. So a lot of that goes into it, and then again, we're talking about much smaller runs. We're talking about tens or hundreds, not tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands.
Really? I want to ask you, but you talked about this. But who are the actual people who buy these tables? You know what I'm gonna? While you're answering the questions, I'm gonna ring your cell phone, and you can pick it up. It'll be quiet, and let's see if we can change over to your cell. But just stay on the phone. But I'm gonna dial your cell in the meantime, and see if that works. All right.
That sounds fine.
Okay. So in the meantime, so tell us who's using these tables. I mean, who's buying these tables? Yeah.
Well, like I said, it's a wide variety of folks. We sold our tables in 31 countries now around the world.
Mm-hmm.
We've sold them to Fortune 500 companies, top universities, top museums, government agencies. So really across the board.
All right. Well, I want to ask you, what was the most challenging installation you've ever done? And why don't you pick up your cell phone and see if we can switch over there to that, okay?
Sure.
And
let's try it.
Let's try that. Okay. So let's see if we got that. Okay, Jim, you there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Oh, a million times.
I am.
Okay. All right. So,
my goodness, you actually have depth to your voice. Who knew?
Exactly. Yeah. All right. So.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I'm coming through clear.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny that you'd think with cell phone technology it wouldn't be as good, but but anyway, the most challenging from a strictly hardware standpoint, the most challenging installation that we've ever worked on was the most recent, which is one that we did for Cooper Hewitt, Smithsonian Cooper Hewitt Design Museum in New York City. We developed four 84-inch 4K multi-touch tables, and we had 7 other 55-inch screens, some in table format, some in wall format. The vast majority of them had built-in RFID, NFC readers, that where the users were given a pen and they could communicate with that pen and basically be able to personalize their experience in the museum. So as they interacted with objects in the museum's collection through the multi-touch tables, they would then be able to download those, the things that they drew and information about the objects that they interacted with into these devices.
Well, Jim, let's continue on with that. We're at the bottom of the hour break, and we're going to continue with this, okay? So you stay on with us. You listen to the Computer America Show on the Blog Talk Radio Network, the Boost Radio Network, and the IRN Radio Network. Ben and I are talking to Jim Spadacini, with the founder and creator of Ideum. We're going to continue on with him right after the break. Stay with us.
Hey everyone, have you heard about the No hair removal device that's sweeping the globe? If you want to go weeks without shaving and get smooth, professional quality results, here's our favorite host, Cheryl, for No hair removal.
Thanks. Hey gals, I love talking about my No. It's this cute little hair removal system that you can take with you and use almost anywhere at home or on the road. No more expensive in-office treatments, painful waxing, and no more wasting your valuable time. Got unwanted facial hair? No has patented Thermocon technology that works on all hair and skin colors, so it's perfect for using on all body parts. And now you can take advantage of this incredible risk-free trial. Get the No, the facial kit, a travel case, and a $100 discount shopping card, and you don't risk a penny to try it. Try the incredible No hair completely risk-free. Call 1-800-953-5415. That's 800-953-5415. 800-953-5415.
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they're available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
Hi, this is Marty Winston with the News Tips and Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, the TCP LED T8 tube. Kind of interesting. This is a 4-foot tube that looks like and lights like a fluorescent lamp. T8 size fluorescent lamp, and it goes into the same tube pin on each side kind of housing as long as it's one of the approved zero start time, instant start ballasts on that fixture. Now, if you have a 32-watt fluorescent tube in a 120 to 277 volt fixture with an instant start balance, you can directly replace that tube with the new TCP LED T8. There's no rewiring. Check their site for instant start balance compatibility. They're shatterproof with no glass and no mercury, so there will be no special disposal costs, assuming regulations don't change by the time their 50,000-hour rated life ends. And they can save at least 40% in energy consumption. They come in 4 color temperatures, 3,000, 3,500, 5,100, and 5,000 degrees Kelvin, with a CRI of 82. Bottom line, if you have a place where fluorescent tubes go that has an instant start ballast, the new TCP Direct LED T8 tubes can brighten your outlook. This is Marty Winston with the News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. That was, hopefully you caught it, Marty Winston's brand new News Tip Bulletin Review.
Yeah, it was cool.
Very cool, by the way. And yeah, it sounds like kind of funny how he mentioned regulations, because that changes all the time. So hopefully he's right on that one. But right now we're talking to Jim. He is the founder and creative director for Ideum. Makes these awesome multi-user touch interactive tabletop displays, things like that. And he was just talking about his most recent one, where it sounded like not so much that it was a hardware issue, but it sounded like the challenge might have come from, like, not in building these all these different units, but in making them as interactive, I guess, as the user wanted them to be.
Yeah, I mean, I think the challenge was that well, first of all, that no one had built these 84 tables before in 4K, so they were new. So that was one challenge. The other challenge was that we had a large number of these NFC readers that were going to go kind of around the tables. In fact, there were 8 of them. And so we're dealing with, how do we construct these tables? How do we make this work? How do we make the NFC readers with these pens properly work within that situation? So it presented a lot of technical challenges in just bringing together all of these pieces. And there was a group in Spain that was developing the pens and the boards. There was another group in New York City. Then there was the museum itself. And we were trying to basically integrate all of these things together. So that was an enormous challenge. Probably the biggest challenge we've had since project we did at Monterey Bay Aquarium, where if you go there, you can see we built a 7-foot multi-touch wall that's better than HD resolution. It's a few years old now, so that sounds almost dated. But it's projector based, and it's 7-foot round multi-touch wall.
Well, I'm looking at this on your website, the touch walls, and I learned more. I'm looking at this really large one here, where they're like moving a little screen or something, or a window over this huge flat panel display. How big is that thing?
That's a 75-inch display, so that's not even the biggest display that we've built. Wow. That's our biggest production display. Yeah, the Presenter 75-inch.
Yeah, that's very cool looking. Watching them do that.
Yeah, it's great. It's almost immersive. If you're in the center of that screen and you start interacting, it's hard to see anything but the screen. Yeah, that's how big it is.
And what kind of resolution are on those other screens that you're dealing with? Are there what are you working with?
Anything that's more. Basically, we decided that a while ago, because there were 75, 80, 84-inch HD displays that were out there. We very deliberately decided we were not going to turn those into touch displays. Mm-hmm. So we waited until 4K arrived for those larger sizes. We were very concerned about the pixel density and just the difference is you can sit down and watch a 75 or 80-inch HD TV
Yeah.
in your living room,
Yeah.
and if you're 6 or 8 or 10 feet away, it's going to look fine. If you're an arm's length away, it's going to look terrible. And we really waited until the 4K displays arrived. And now, the 75 and the 84 that we built are only available in 4K. We don't go back. 65 HD we decided to do, mostly because we had people clamoring for it.
Well, you see,
but even there, it starts to break down a bit.
Well, you see, there's the reason. I mean, people were saying, what do you want? You got 4K. Oh my gosh, that's 4 times 1080p. Who's going to look at that and everything? And if you're watching the TV, I would tend to agree with them. But when you're standing on top of it like that, and it's a touch screen, then there's a justification, because people don't watch television standing right in front of it, but they are going to if it's a touch wall, right? So that makes sense.
Absolutely. Yep. No, and that's why we were thrilled when 4K came out. And actually, we have a new 4K projected capacitive touch screen. So that's a PCAP touch screen, which is essentially the same touch technology that you have in a tablet or a smartphone. So it's non-optical, and that's out, and that's in 55, and we're only building that in 4K now. We don't. If you want an HD version of it, you can basically change the resolution and downsample it. But we're essentially starting to exit HD as a resolution as we're going forward.
Now 4K, unless you're talking about a computer monitor, 4K televisions are not touch sensitive. They're no one, So I assume you're modifying these screens to become touch sensitive, which is what you do. Is that part of the process?
Right, we are, and we integrate touch technologies from a variety of different companies. So we use everybody from 3M, who's a great partner with us, Displex, PQ Labs, and even Hyundai Displays. So we're looking. We have a number of different providers, and again, we integrate these together. I think what we're really good at is creating compelling designs. We tend to make the thinnest versions of whomever's touch technology we're integrating out of the bunch. We also tend to make the toughest ones. That's again, our designers use. Use all aluminum, and we try to create things that are very, very turnkey. So some of other folks have been building things where you have to have somebody come out and set it up and calibrate it. All of our stuff is really meant to be turnkey. We really try to create it into a standalone product.
Well, if you have all these different technologies to choose from, doesn't one stand out from the others, or does it keep changing?
Yeah, you think, and we keep wondering. We keep thinking, oh well, okay, this one's got this now, and this one's got that. It's much better. I feel like it's much better to be able to be in a position where we can pick and choose, and really create the solutions that our customers and our clients want.
Well, why would
to be able to?
Well, why would you use one over another? I mean, can you give me an example? Why would you want? If they're all touch technologies, why would you select one over another?
Well, a perfect example is that the projected capacitive touch displays are really what people want. There's no bezel, so there's no kind of lip like you have on a lot of the infrared displays. They're impervious to light interference, so you can put them near a bright window and it's not going to affect the touch capabilities. But those don't scale. It's very difficult to get them beyond 55 inches. We have an 84-inch version, but that comes from a different manufacturer. There's some nuances in how these touch technologies work, and what we're finding is some of our manufacturers, some of the groups that we work with, are more adept at particular solutions than others. So having the ability to pick and choose, and between 42 inches and 84 inches, and in some cases between what's going to work on a wall versus what's going to work on a tabletop, that's actually really important. Because the stuff changes very rapidly, but we're also we can rapidly prototype these things and turn them into turnkey products, and that's something I'm really proud of. We have an amazing team that's able to do this quite quickly, and that again allows us the flexibility to create very, very interesting solutions at the best that in each class, with the available technology. But you have to have a menu to choose from to be able to do that.
Okay, so I think I understand, except clarify a little bit more. I mean, are you saying that size matters? That if it's a certain size, you can go this capacitive, but then if it's bigger, it has to be infrared, or if it's horizontal versus vertical, is going to make a difference?
Yeah, Ben, yeah, absolutely, and it's difficult to understand because there's so many nuances here. Like for example, we tend to try to make tables. We would prefer to make all of our tables use projected capacitive touch, because we feel like in a table situation, not having a lip and the IR has this little lip. That's really important because you put a drink on it, or whatever, but it's not as elegant as having a flat table.
The lip is where the little sensors are for XY coordinates. You're saying that's what.
For IR, exactly.
Okay.
Which on a large scale wall is not as much of a problem.
Yeah, because you can't put a drink on a wall. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. So that's like one example. But it's not like even across the board. All of these things have their own nuances, and even with projected capacitive touch, there's several different competing technologies. So it's kind of hard to fathom, because if you think about it, when you talk about projected capacitive touch and touch screens, people think about mobile. And when you think about that, you think there's probably a couple billion of these screens that have been produced. But when you get into larger sizes, you kind of hit this no man's land. Basically the way most of these work is there are these little tiny wires, and those tiny wires have a little electrical pattern, and as you touch, you break that pattern, right? But the problem is when you scale that up, you wind up with lots and lots and lots of wires. Right.
Yes.
And so many wires that it gets in the way of the image.
Okay. No.
It's not a trivial thing to scale up, and that's part of the reason that we find, like, some manufacturers are doing well here and some are doing well here, and generally these things are produced in much smaller numbers than what we talk about in mobile. So part of it too is, as a company like us, we also have to have some amount of diversification to make sure that we have a diverse supply chain too. But generally what we're doing is looking for the best solution in each one of these sizes.
And again, it has to retrofit. It's like a smartphone where the screen is multi-touch, and you don't have to do anything. You're taking a regular television and making it touch sensitive, so you have to.
Right, exactly. And there's sometimes things that you wouldn't expect coming out of that. So for example, when we started, we took some touch controllers from a supplier of ours in the UK, and we were like, okay, we're going to try these with a 4K display. Well, the 4K displays put out all sorts of extra electromagnetic noise. So there's all this extra noise coming out. So we had to figure out how to compensate for that extra noise. So you deal with some very real engineering problems, model from model, and device to device.
So do you ever foresee these types of experiences that you're creating heading into the home environment?
Yeah, I think they absolutely will. We probably won't be the ones who do it. I could say that honestly. Right. I think we're, because most of the stuff we do is in much smaller quantity. Our stuff's pretty specialized. And I do think at some point soon in the future, you're going to have some large manufacturers get interested in this, and you're going to see, multi-touch coffee table for the home, price point $3,000-4,000 kind of thing.
Well,
and I think we'll see that in a couple of years.
Well,
I think that's pretty clear.
Do you think that's going to be pioneered by like Surface, Microsoft Surface, where they're trying to do this now with touch tables for consumers?
Well, Microsoft Surface probably isn't the best example because that product had so many flaws, which in some ways is humbling. Because it's a hard thing to do, and what they did was very, very ambitious, and if it worked, it would have been incredibly cool because it was a really brilliant concept.
Yeah.
But I think it had issues. But I do think it's going to be somebody big who will do this. It'll be a big PC manufacturer, a big TV manufacturer, display manufacturer.
I think there's like this 21 or 27-inch screen now that you can get, and it's like a PC, but you can lay it flat on the ground, and then you can, and not only that, you can put pieces on it, for playing games like little pucks or something.
Right, it's the Lenovo.
The Lenovo
one is probably the.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yep.
Go ahead.
I'd say that's probably the closest to that. But what's interesting, there's a big difference between 27 and 32. There's a big difference between 32 and 42. But I do think it'll be, it could be Lenovo, it could be Samsung, who knows, it could be HP, it could be, we don't know. It's probably not going to be, it's very likely not going to be any of the small companies that are doing coffee tables like ourselves and some of our competitors. It's just a question of you have to mass produce this to a point where the prices can get low enough.
Well, I assume they also have different facilities. They have labs and when they're developing these things. I mean, these things, because they're not add-ons. That Lenovo, that's on an add-on. That's part of the screen. It was designed that way. So when they come out with large,
well, it is. Yeah, it is and it isn't. I mean, they're essentially using the same process. There's not that much that's different. So they're going to find a touch controller and glass from probably a third-party manufacturer, and then they're going to spec a screen, and then they're going to build an integrated system around it. It's not that different than what we do, but the scale of what they do and the prices that they can ask for those components. That's just there's a
because they're buying
that's
so
mass manufacturing.
So they're making so many of them, it can bring the costs down to a consumer level price. Well, what are some of your screens? I mean, lay it on. What does some of these things cost? These tables that you're making and walls.
So on the low end, our coffee tables, start at around $8,000, $7,950, and then our big tables can go all the way up to $50,000, depending on what how they're equipped.
Did you say 15,000 or 50? 50?
50.
50. Oh my God. Yeah, that's expensive. Okay.
Yeah. Now I know that sounds crazy, and this is one of the things too, because we deal with this. Like if somebody writes we were in Engadget, and they're like, "Hey, I have a $17,000 multi-touch table," and then people will respond, "Well, I could go down to Best Buy and buy these parts for da 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 da." Just to understand, that generally those kinds of tables are things like the 100-inch multi-touch table, where you have a lot of custom fabrication, a lot of aluminum work, multiple large 4K screens, large touch display, tricked out computer system, and then you got to ship it, and these are not small items. So that's and basically in kind of people don't always know, but a large installation like museum installation, that's not like a crazy price.
Sure. No.
So it's just a question of scale. But I think overall you'll see this price start to retreat a bit. But there is always going to be that kind of level of custom fabrication and hardening there's a certain amount of cost involved in that.
Now, do you do the software too? I mean, it's not just
Oh, yeah,
touch
yeah.
windows or something. I mean, you're actually doing the.
Yeah, the software parts are real. I mean, we're passionate about the hardware. We love doing hardware, but the software is great because we're not only passionate about how the software works, and we're really interested in how people interact with it, but we've been lucky enough to explore some very, very interesting topics. So we're working on a project right now with Smithsonian American Indian on the ancient city of Cusco, which was the Incan capital. And we're reconstructing. We're working with them and a group of archaeologists and architects in Spain on recreating the ancient city of Cusco in 3D for a large 84-inch multi-touch table that goes in there in June. We have 4 exhibits that are going to be part of Milwaukee Public Museum that launch actually this weekend on the Ides of March in Milwaukee, and we did 3 large-scale interactives there, 3 touch walls, and then 3 other exhibits. So we love crafting those types of experiences.
Do these people come to you, or do you approach them? I mean, how does it work? I mean,
they generally come to us. I mean, it's museum. We have a reputation in the museum world, but also the museum world's a sort of smallish community, and so folks have projects, and usually there's some kind of a bidding process, an RFP process, and we get involved and bid on these projects, and and sometimes we get them, and sometimes they're great. And the 2 projects that I just mentioned are really a lot of fun.
Now, beyond touch tables, are there any other technology your company is exploring?
Yeah, we're very interested in what's happening next in computing, and we think the touch tables will certainly play a role, but we're interested in a lot of immersive technologies and HCI technologies. We have an HCI as human-computer interaction, and it's become sort of a catch-all for anything that doesn't involve a keyboard and mouse. But we have a product called GestureWorks Gameplay, which is a kind of companion product for PC gaming, and it allows you to use and create your own touch interfaces for PC games, or to use voice commands or motion to interact with standard PC games. And we really look at this concept of multimodal interaction as being the future. And while we're deeply interested in multi-touch tables, and we think there's a lot more work to be done there, we're equally as interested in other types of interaction that are coming on board, including motion and voice and sensors.
All right. So we got about a couple minutes left, Jim. What do you see as the future of all these technologies? What would you say?
So, as I mentioned before, I really see this as becoming a more integrated kind of experience where you might enter a room and things start happening, and you might have multiple ways of interacting, not just with the screens in that room, but kind of with the room itself. The Internet of Things concept, you can interact with the lights and the temperature, but also the other electronic devices that are in that space as well. We're deeply interested in that because we think from a museum standpoint that's interesting, but I do think that's probably where we're headed in the home of the future as well, as the price of these all of these devices drop down. And we're fascinated by what that interaction might look like and how that might work. So I think we look at that as when we look at the future, we really look at it as not just being about the tables and the hardware. And I think a lot of people look at us and go, oh, they're the guys who make the multi-touch tables. But we're interested in a bigger picture.
Okay. Well, don't you want people to look at you and say, hey, those are the guys that make the multi-touch tables?
Yeah, I mean that's not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
I do think though that for us, it's really about the whole integrated experience. As a small company, you know, we have this sort of unusual situation where we're doing the hardware and the software, and big companies do it all the time, and no one bats an eyelid. Oh yeah, Google has hardware and software, Microsoft has hardware and software, Apple has hardware and software.
Mm.
You're a small company, and you do it, and people say, oh, you're unfocused.
Well,
and I feel like it's the same thing. We're doing it on a much smaller scale, much smaller scale. But again, the whole idea is that if you have control of that experience from either side, you're going to create a more compelling user experience, and that's really what we're talking about. That's what it's all about.
Well, Jim, again, I want to thank you for being with us here tonight. If you go to the Computer America website and you click on the show notes button, you'll see today's show, which is March the 9th. 2015, and you'll see Ideum up there, and we even have a link to the Ideum website, ideum.com, and it'll take you, and you can see all the different touch products and table products and wall products that they make, and the website's quite impressive. You can see videos of these things in action, and it'll make you say to yourself, gee, I'd like to have one of those. Jim, again, thanks for being with us here and taking the time to be with us here on Computer America tonight.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
All right, Jim. Take care. Have a good evening. Good night.
All right, you too. Good night.
And best of luck to you there in New Mexico. Okay, take care. Bye-bye. All right, there he goes. All right. Again, you can see all of it at the Computer America website. Check them out. Now, coming up in hour 2, of course, Ben and I are going to have computer and technology news brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. And also, we're going to talk a little bit about the Apple event that just happened today, the Spring Ahead event from Apple Computer. Talk about the keynote and some of the new products that were introduced. All that coming up. Another news tips, polls, and review from Marty Winston. That's all coming up on Computer America.
Broadcasting live. It's the only national radio talk show on computers to air every weeknight. Computer America. Hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. The first hour's behind us, but there's still more of tech news, tech talk, and your phone calls. We're being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. You got computer problems? Bring them on. You're listening to Computer America. Computers run the world, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@computeramerica.com.
Hello and welcome into hour 2 of the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. This is the Computer America Show, and I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And so what'd you think? Would you like to have a touch table in your room?
I wouldn't.
Okay.
I think there's a place for everything, and until we get to I'm pretty sure you saw the Corning glass,
yes.
living with glass, whatever.
I love that. Oh.
Until you can get to a situation where every one of your flat surfaces is a touchscreen, then you can see it in your house. But maybe for like a game room table, so you have like apps with like different, maybe like an app for Monopoly or an app for Risk or an app for that, and you could use this as like a game table or some other kind of. I could see it in like an entertainment capacity. But for personal spaces, not so much.
Well, like that. Well, what did you think that Lenovo computer that we saw that had all the GIF and games? You could literally put it flat on the surface like a table.
It's just a variant of what Ideum is doing. So.
Yeah, exactly. But that was kind of cool. I mean, you could have it plugged in, or you could even have it, wireless and do all those things. Plus, you could put, you could roll physical dice on it. It would read the dice, and then move it into the game and move the pieces for you. So. It's kind of a slick thing. He was familiar with it too. You're muted.
Which I don't like.
You don't like?
Because how are you going to cheat? You have to put seriously. Board games are meant for cheating. That is as soon as you take out the only input from humans that a board game has is rolling your dice and doing your turn. Then that is when board games become boring. You have to have an element of cheating in there.
I see. Okay, this is true for Monopoly?
It's true for Monopoly, true for Risk, true for chess, true for anything. Cheating is mandatory.
I see. Okay.
This is how sometimes when I play checkers, I end up with pieces on the red squares, and they don't notice it. And it's pretty easy once you realize that the red squares are fair. The red squares are fair game.
Yeah, this, ladies and gentlemen, is from our computer gamer.
Cheating is mandatory, folks.
Well, again, thanks to Ideum, Jim Spodnidi, for being with us in the first hour. Very enlightening. And again, you can see it. Go to our website at computeramerica.com. It's in the show notes page, and you can check it out for yourself. Our second hour guest, as I mentioned, fell through, and so that's quite all right. Because
we will reschedule them for a later date when they're able to make it on.
That's right, and it's called Luna, and it's about a mattress cover that turns your bed into a smart bed. Really kind of cool technology. But tonight we're gonna kind of shift gears, and we're gonna go into computer news and technology news. But before we start that, I'd like to talk a little bit about what we saw at Apple from their keynote. Or should we make that part of? We should probably just make that part of the computer news, and because it is news. So let's just make it part of.
We should definitely make it part of the news.
All right, let's do it. Tonight's computer and technology news is brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. You can visit them at slimwareutilities.com to clean, speed up, and optimize your Windows system for free. That's right. Everything at slimwareutilities.com is completely free. That's right. There's no two ways about it. All the utilities there are free. We highly recommend that you download them all, keep them on your computer when you need them, use them as often as you would like to, because it will continue to clean, speed up, and optimize your Windows system for free. And you'll be happy that you did, and you'll thank us for it. slimwareutilities.com. Check them out. Okay. So I want to start off with the Apple keynote today. I watched the actual live streaming, and of course the first thing that I noticed was is that when I went to the Apple website to watch live streaming, it said, "Sorry, we don't work with the browser that you're using." And I looked down. Of course, I'm using.
You're using Chrome?
No, I was using Firefox.
Ah.
Firefox, it wouldn't work. But turns out that Chrome, it would work with Chrome. Okay.
Validation for the Chrome users once again.
It works, but it won't work with Firefox. Now, of course, it worked with Safari, and it works with Chrome, but it won't work with Firefox. So.
Do you think they like firewalled it, or?
No, it just came up big message that says, "Sorry, we're not compatible with this browser." It was just that simple. But when I launched Safari, I watched it perfectly, and it works with Chrome. It works perfectly as well. And it's more than just the video. I mean, they have the video, and then they have the panel underneath the video would update when they talked about a topic. You would see a video about what it was they were just talking about. So it's really a slick operation. And again, it does work with Chrome, which is more and more reasons which I think I'm going to maybe eventually retire Firefox, at least for now. But I haven't done it yet. There's still a lot of things that I like about it that I don't see in these other browsers, but I'm sure that'll change soon. But getting away from the browsers, I want to talk a little bit about. So it started up, and then I watched the video. Actually, I joined it, and I missed like the first 7 or 8 minutes of it, so that was already.
Was Tim Cook the presenter?
Yes, Tim Cook was the presenter. He's the CEO of Apple, just like Steve Jobs did it. Tim Cook does it. Although when I went back later on, and I went back to the browser and I said watch the keynote, I watched like the 7 minutes that I missed, which was just pretty much an opening video and everything, and started. So then there's the usual fluff that goes on. They talk about what they've done and what a great company they are and how they're doing so well, and I mean it's fine. They're basically
If there's any time to toot your own horn.
Yes, they're tooting the horn. The horn tooting was going on. And as long as it wasn't tapped, it was a tooting horn.
Really, they're currently the most valuable company in the history of the world, and well, no, I take it back. currently. The most, actually, fun fact, Greg, do you know what the most valuable company in the history of the world ever was?
It was before Apple, you mean? I can't hear you. You're muted.
Oops. Before Apple even trumps Apple by a factor of 10.
No, Exxon?
Nope. The East India Trading Company, or the tea.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was a long time ago, though.
Yeah, but counted for inflation and today's currency, they were worth, I think, $7 trillion. That one company.
That's a lot of tea.
Yeah, they did a lot of commerce, but yeah, no, the tea company is neither here nor there. So Apple.
Yes. So they started off tooting their own horn, which is fine. They always do that. They've always done that. Steve Jobs was always started out with, and that's fine, and they can certainly talk about it. And then they started getting into some of the products, and there were one of the interesting ones that they started off was talking about this product, which gets medical information. And in other words, when they do to the medical information today, basically they're talking about a very, very small sampling of what's available out there. And this is because of the technology that we use. Basically, they would set as medical research is the problem, and they would take a very small sampling, and that small sampling is over a period of maybe a year. I think one medical research said we sent out 600,000 letters and we got like 300 responses, and so it's very, very bad. And the idea was to take the iPhone, which has over 700 million iPhones out there now, and use this medical research device, which allows people to give instant feedback, and it was really very interesting. They showed how they do it. The tests for Parkinson's disease and diabetes and Alzheimer's. They actually had these different tests that you could do from people, and they
all of these tests based on your phone.
On your phone, yeah, breast cancer. I mean, all these different things. And they can get a much, much better, more accurate representation of this medical research, and it's a much. And not only that, Apple wants everyone to have it, so it's not the first time, but it's open source, so that basically
Apple is releasing open source software.
Yep, for medical research. Yep. Yeah. They had this doctor, Catherine Schmitz, University of Pennsylvania, talking about how they send out 600,000 letters and like 300. It's called ResearchKit, by the way, and they're developing this, and it's available now. So that was kind of interesting to watch, and that was very laudable on their part. So now we get to the first product that Apple is developing, and Phil Schiller came out to talk about it, and it's interesting because he's talking about this Apple the MacBook, not the MacBook Air, but the MacBook, and Tim Cook comes walking out with the MacBook, and it's so light. He says, "I can barely feel it," but it weighs 2 pounds. So basically, it's 29. It's like 29% smaller. It's a beautiful. You look at the MacBook. It's like looking at the MacBook Air, but it's thinner than the MacBook Air. It's like 29% thinner than the MacBook Air. So that's the first thing. And I said it weighs 2 pounds. It's got
I don't know. They keep making it smaller and lighter and that kind of thing. Where does it end?
Yeah, I know. Well, it is. It's so tiny. Yet it has the 12-inch screen.
Like, where in there do they fit the graphics card? Because the thing's so skinny, and graphics cards are like twice as thick as the entire thing.
Well, on the thickest part of it, it's 13.1 millimeters, which again, if you put the MacBook Air up against it, which is like 17.3 millimeters, so it's, as I said, it's 24% thinner than the thinnest MacBook Air, and this is the MacBook. This is the actual MacBook. So that's the first thing. Now, to get all this to work, they had to do a lot of different really cool technologies. It's an all-metal enclosure. what they did is the brains, the board, they actually shrunk it down. They took out the fan. First of all, there's no fan in this thing. They were able to get it down. It uses less wattage, less heat. And what they've done is they've took the keyboard and made it an edge-to-edge keyboard, but it's an all-new keyboard. The technology behind the current keyboards, they use something known as the scissor mechanism underneath the key. So that means when you watch somebody typing the keys, if they hit it toward the edge, they'll kind of tilt to the left and right. They'll kind of wobble, all right? And so what they did is they redesigned the keys to from the scissor mechanism, which is and they created this new mechanism called the butterfly mechanism. So now the key is straight up and down. So even if you hit it at the edge, the sensor it makes a direct contact. And also there's a number of
How do you think that would feel for typing? Because it sounds like that would be closer to a mechanical keyboard.
Yeah, it's 4 times more stable than the other keyboard. It's also
the other keyboards are just like little rubber dots.
Right.
And those things are a pain in the butt to use.
It's a 17% larger keycap than one of the other caps before. And so it is definitely a more stable and more better. But also, the lighting now is directly. Each key has its own LED source, rather than illuminating it all from the bottom. Each key has its own LED to light it, so they get even better lighting control because each key is individually lit now. So that's the keyboard is a massive improvement. They also improved the trackpad. It's now a force trackpad. Normally, most trackpads, all trackpads actually, when you push down, there's like you push down on the front portion of it, and it kind of tilts down to make a little click. Now there's 4 of those. So basically, you can press easily. You can easily click anywhere on the trackpad, and it's going to register the click. On top of that, they've added a haptic mechanism underneath it. So now you have a click feel. It actually makes a little click that you can feel it. And since it's software controlled, you can adjust the click feel through software. You can adjust how much of the click that you want it to make. It's pressure sensitive. You have a click and you have a force click. You have 2 types of clicks. One is just a regular click, and a force click you push down harder, and the OS X software will know the difference between them. So things that you normally have to do as like a command or a shift click, now just a force click will do the same thing. So if you force click on a word, it'll come up with a word.
See,
definition.
When you say that, all that comes to mind is like Siri. Like you accidentally start force clicking like every 2 times, and Siri pops up and is like, "Excuse me, are you feeling upset? Why are you force clicking so much? Calm down."
Exactly. So they have that. Then they have, as I said, the new motherboard. The motherboard, they reduced it way down. They took off the fan. Matter of fact, if you took the motherboard from the MacBook Air and tried to compare it with this, it wouldn't even begin to fit. It's too big. So they removed the fan. It is fanless, and they reduced the circuit board down by quite a number of percentage. So you have all that built in, and then the rest of the space on the entire computer is batteries. They have 5 batteries, and the interesting about the batteries, they changed the battery technology, so they're no longer rectangular shaped batteries. They are using a layering technology, so now they can take the battery right to the thinnest portion of the enclosure. So basically they're getting like 39% more battery space just by using this technology. So now the MacBook will actually get the MacBook gets I think it's 10 hours of uninterrupted light. They're called terrace contoured battery cells. So they get additional battery life because of that. So it's just a very cool computer. It really is. They've done some really nice things with this, and supposedly it's available I believe in April. They have 2 versions. One with the first processor. The other one's like an Intel i5 Core i5 processor in this new MacBook But yeah, so it's also the antennas are built in directly into the unit as well, and it also has a Retina display. And
Yeah, 12-inch Retina,
yeah,
Retina display, right?
exactly. It uses the 5th gen Intel Core i5 and i7 processors. That's where it also has Thunderbolt 2 built into it.
Did they say what the battery life was?
Yeah, I think it was like 30 hours, I believe it was, the battery.
30?
I don't recall.
Hmm.
It has Bluetooth, generation 4 and 802.11 AC. I know that, and the battery. He mentioned the battery life, but I didn't make a note of it, so I'm not sure what the battery life is. But I know it's improved enormously. The other thing is they have something called USB-C. So now, remember how they all had
USB-C has been making the news all over the place. That's one of our stories is talking specifically about USB-C.
This is very cool because it looks like a lightning connector, and because it's reversible, it's the same thing. It doesn't matter which way you put it in. But now you get in the one plug, you get HDMI, you get all the different, you get power, you get video, you get audio. It's all in the one connector. There's no multiple ports in the background. It's just the one connector gives you everything you need for your computer. And it's something brand new. It's a new standard that that Apple has introduced. It's going to be obviously followed by many, many more. I mean, all the printer ports, everything is in this one cable.
Like, USB-C is the big news, and USB 3.1, and I'm pretty sure those two are going to be compatible with each other. Like, there's going to be USB-C 3.1, and that's going to be really cool because it's going to be reversible, which is always nice, but it's also going to be able to power a computer monitor just through the one cord, and feed video through it, and transfer data through it.
Yep.
All through one cord. So, if anything, this kind of technology just kind of eliminates the power cord to your monitor if you're using a desktop computer.
That's right, yeah. But Apple's pioneered it first, and it's all in this new MacBook notebook computer. And
I can't wait till that takes over and replaces most of the other USBs, because that just one cable that cuts out 2, 3, maybe even 4 other cables is amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. So that was Phil Schiller kind of talked about that. That was the introduction of the computer, and the fact that it comes in 3 colors, including gold. And then they continued on with and then they finally moved to the Apple iWatch, the Apple Watch, excuse me, the Apple Watch. And they're talking about some of the additional features that it's going to have. They gave some demos of some new features that's going to be incorporated into it. But basically, they finally came out with the pricing, and they talked. The top line is the Apple edition, the watch, which is the gold, the rose gold. The pricing on that watch starts. Take a wild guess, Ben. How much?
$449.
$10,000
for the rose gold.
The rose gold starting. And that doesn't include that that means you have the plastic band if you want the mesh.
That's okay. Apple, for someone who kind of specializes in mass production, they can kind of sell the iPhone and the iPod and all their laptops and all the computers because they make so many of them. For the $10,000 price mark, sounds like they're being made to order.
Yeah, you said they're not. Tim Cook actually said they're not going to be making very many of them. Okay. So when he was talking about the gold watch, as a matter of fact, you know how they normally applaud and everything. When he announced the price of the gold watch, it was very, very silent. The audience was very, very silent.
Well, I bet. I mean, we're talking about consumer technology here, and $10,000 isn't exactly in the reach of most consumers.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way around it. If you're going to make something in gold, I don't care how many. Gold is gold. You can't really change. You can change the.
Yeah, but you can still get a gold watch for $2,000-$3,000.
Well, I think this rose gold. I think it's I don't know if it's 18 karat gold, but it is. It's
if anything, it's Apple, which traditionally has a high markup value. I don't care if you're an Apple fan or you're not. Apple has a higher value. Like their computers are priced higher. So when you mix the typical higher priced Apple computer with something like gold, $10,000 seems pretty reasonable for Apple.
Yeah. Well, it is. So, uh, but that was the thing. So that was basically everything that was unveiled at the keynote. Okay, and they talked a little bit of Apple Pay and everything, but basically that was the culmination of the Apple keynote event. And again, you can watch it. You can go to apple.com and click on the keynote and watch the keynote for yourself and see it for yourself. All right, so I think that's pretty much about Apple. So let's start doing some technology news stories. And this one I found a little surprising. This is from Max.
Whoa, you're doing a whole convention and then you're doing the first story?
Oh, you want to do the first story? You can do the first story. Okay.
Well, Miss Gabby Gus. I mean, you've only filled the first 20 minutes of the second hour with your story, but...
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Oh, this one I found cool because in a country where plastic surgery is, let's admit, a little bit shunned. People are, it happens all the time with, rhinoplasty, with liposuction, with gastric bypass, with like plastic surgery and cosmetic surgery is, even though it's looked down upon, it happens so much.
Yes,
so here's something that is definitely in the discretionary category, but I didn't even know they could do this.
No, neither did I. I mean, this kind of blew my mind when I saw this. I know people have colored contact lenses, but that's not what this is.
This isn't colored contact lenses with the violet eyes or the white eyes or or cat eyes or what have you. This is from CNN Money, and soon you'll be able to turn your brown eyes blue for $5,000. So for the price of half an Apple Watch.
Yeah.
Yep.
You could. Now, the thing is that once you do this, it's irreversible. This is it. You're gonna have blue eyes.
Well, really, up until this point, your eye color was irreversible, unless you put in contacts, and that's just taking them out. Your eye color was a permanent thing. Like if you look on a driver's license, they have your eye color because you can't change one of those.
Well, now you can. Now you can. Yeah.
Yep. So a new treatment has successfully changed the color of people's eyes in Latin America, but the procedure isn't approved yet in the U.S. So just like for those of you who want to go down to Costa Rica and get that cheap liposuction, might stop in for an eye coloring.
Mm-hmm.
For years, a California-based company called Stroma Medical has been publicizing a laser procedure that turns brown eyes blue. Theoretically, this would give brown-eyed individuals the choice of changing, the choice to change the tint of their irises, not unlike the way many decided to use surgery to alter the noses or chest they were born with. Now, Stroma Medical claims that it has conducted 37 successful treatments on patients in Mexico and Costa Rica. It also says that it would likely charge about $5,000 for anyone wanting the procedure. That is, of course, only if and when American medical safety regulators give the surgery the green light from the United States. Sounds like you can kind of fly down to Mexico and get this done underneath the table.
But would you
we don't advise that, but...
Yeah, I wouldn't advise it because we don't know what the long-term implications are here.
Actually, this has been reviewed by a lot of optometrists, and so far the only health risk to this is that apparently the laser surgery might block some of the drainage passageways, like inside the eyes. Like it might cause like little clogs in your eye fluid.
Mm-hmm.
Very technical term here, and it might aid in or it might increase the risk of getting glaucoma.
Wow.
And really, that's the only thing that can happen is a slight increase in glaucoma.
Well, that's not a good thing.
It's not a good thing, but it's not exactly like, oh, your eyes are going to fall out of your head because you hit them with laser. No, it's just, maybe sometime on the road it could have an increased risk of glaucoma.
Okay.
So, they said they've done 37 of them. They said that the fundamental principle is that under every brown eye is a blue eye. If you take that pigment away, then the light can enter the stroma. the little fibers that look like bicycle spokes in a light eye, and when the light scatters, it only reflects back the shortest wavelengths, and that's blue at the end of the spectrum. Which is, again, they're kind of peeling away those little fibers, so you only get the the ones that send back the blue, and voila, you get blue eyes. Which also means if you have blue eyes, or you have green eyes, or you have gray eyes, and you want brown eyes, that cannot happen.
Yes. At least
Because
not.
that would be adding pigments
Right.
to the stroma.
But you can't do that. You can only
You can't do that. So if you had a pocket full of cash and you were looking for some illegal surgery to go down, head on down to Costa Rica, get your eyes changed,
from brown to blue.
and don't forget to get your driver's license updated.
And don't forget that song. Don't that make your brown eyes blue? Yeah, exactly.
I don't know that one.
You never heard that song?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Too young.
Too young. But it is kind of mind blowing that you can do that to change the color of your eyes without contacts. But it's sort of like that trip to Mars. Once you go there, you can't come back.
But that's kind of how I felt though. It's like, okay, you can't go back, but up until 5 years ago, this wasn't even an option. So like your eye color was permanent to begin with. So what's wrong with having a permanent solution? It's just in a different color.
I wonder that's how it's going to affect the driver's licenses and things like that, because they always want.
I just said that.
Yeah, I know. I think that's going to be. I think that's really going to cause.
Like the reason that they don't put. Well, actually, they do put hair color on driver's license, don't they?
Yes, they do. Yeah.
Yeah. So then it won't really matter.
Yeah. Right. Because you can change your hair color really easily.
Yeah,
so.
and they still have to put it there, so
Yeah. Okay. Let's. Oh, well, we don't have time for the next story. We're up against the break. Let me just take this moment to remind you: go to our Computer America website and enter in our contest. Just to our contest page at computeramerica.com. Our Logitech contest is in full swing. We have 3 great prizes to give away. The registration form is right there on the website. It's real simple to do. We got 3 great prizes. Get your entry in now at computeramerica.com, and that. The Logitech, the webcam, the gaming mouse, the Bluetooth speakers, they're all waiting there. They can have your name on it, just get your entry in. You'll have a lot of fun doing it. You might win something really, really nice. A new news tip bulletin review from Marty Winston coming up next. This is Computer America. Looking for a best friend? Brother Wolf Animal Rescue has your best friend waiting just for you. The mission is to protect and enhance the lives of companion animals and the people who love them. Their no-kill rescue shelter is open year-round, making it easy for people to adopt their best new friend. This year, Brother Wolf will find homes for over 2,400 orphan dogs, puppies, cats, and kittens. All have ended up as an orphan through no fault of their own. Brother Wolf has created a safe, nurturing environment where these special animals can heal emotionally and physically until they find a lifelong home. Their life-saving transport program brings dogs and puppies from overcrowded shelters in the south to rescues in the north where homes are easier to find. Brother Wolf Animal Rescue is a 501c3 organization. To learn more about their life-saving work and to make a donation, visit their website at www.bwar.org. That's www.bwar.org. Help to realize Brother Wolf's vision when no animal is euthanized for lack of a home.
Who's a good boy?
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number.
1-866-663-MY-TV.
The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So, disable the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money.
Call 1-866-663-MY-TV.
Right now, to sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99 and up to 4 rooms. And there's no equipment to buy. That includes your free HD TV upgrade, your free DVR upgrade, and your free professional installation. And the best part, the pristine digital picture and sound.
Call 1-866-663-MY-TV.
So, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card.
Call 1-866-663-MY-TV. 1-866-663-MY-TV.
Disable the cable, cut costs, and get more.
Call 1-866-663-MY-TV. 1-866-663-MY-TV.
Oh, is it my turn? Hi, this is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time of the Wink Hub. There is no Rosetta Stone in home control, but the Wink Hub has both Z-Wave and Zigbee on its menu. Once you associate devices with its hub, you use your smartphone, it lets you set up what it calls robots. These are rules that fire under a combination of detected events, location, and time of day to make something happen. That could mean turning one or several things on or off, or sending a message or an email, for example. Well, it's almost vending machine simple to set up and use. The varieties of sensors and effectors with which it can collaborate make it capable of some very sophisticated responses to circumstances. Bottom line, the unassuming-looking Wink Hub is deceptively simple to install and run, given its ability to become a portal to a place where clever robots can become the caretakers you never thought your house could have. This is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. 33 minutes past the hour here, and thank you yet again, Marty Winston, for that. We are doing computer and technology news, brought to you by Slimmer Utilities. We will have Luna on, I'm sure, in another segment sometime later in the month. Unfortunately, they were not able to join us, but rest assured they are okay. Let's see. So yeah, we're doing computer technology news. Just did the story about turning your eyes a different color,
Right.
and the whole Apple keynote, which was big news. Can't wait to see some of the stuff to come out of them. But yeah, Greg, I believe the next story is all yours.
Well, we've been talking about net neutrality this, net neutrality that, and Netflix and everything, but evidently, according to Maxim PC's Paul Lilly, Netflix wavers on net neutrality ruling. So he's calling this a bittersweet victory. He says that you would think that after the FCC reclassified the Internet as a utility under Title II of the Communications Act of 1934, that Netflix would be all smiles, dancing in the streets, giving the implications that it has on imposing net neutrality rules. Okay, and sure enough, Netflix is putting its happy face on, but the company is also showing signs of what the Wall Street Journal has dubbed lobbyist remorse. An appropriate description for what Netflix CFO David Wells had to say on the subject. It only took a week since the ruling was announced for Netflix to backpedal on its previous position of relishing its role as the lead lobbyist for net neutrality. Quoted, "We were pleased it pushed to Title II. Probably not," Netflix Chief Financial Officer David Wells said last week at the annual Morgan Stanley Technology, Media, and Telecom Conference. "We were hoping there might be a non-regulated solution." Now, what's interesting about Wells' statement is that last June, Netflix was pushing the FCC to reclassify broadband as a telecom service under Title II, just as it's now done. According to Variety, Netflix at the time wrote in a court filing that Title II provides the FCC with a solid basis to adopt prohibitions on blocking and unreasonable discrimination by ISPs. Opposition to Title II is largely political, not legal, unquote. So what changed? Well, we're not really sure, to be fair. The Wall Street Journal pulled a soundbite out of Wells' full statement, which you can hear, if you want to. From this article, but after conceding that Title II might not have been the ideal path, despite Netflix pushing it for it a year ago, the streaming provider is still super pleased that there's now a system in place for complaints when or if an ISP plays hardball with Netflix. Essentially, Internet has become a utility, Wells added. If you think about people's willingness to drop their broadband, I think there's been some studies that they're willing to drop many other things, including buying milk, before they drop the broadcast. That's a pretty strong indicator that you've got something that has become, a utility. And in our opinion, it was very important to protect those notions. Okay. In semi-related news, Netflix today posted its speed index for the month of February. In the U.S., Charter jumped a couple of spots to number 6 with an average speed of 3.2 megabits per second, up from 3.14 megabits last month. Verizon Fios is at the top of the list at 3.53 megabits per second, while Clearwire is dead last at 1.1 megabits per second, followed by Verizon DSL, which is at 1.84 megabits per second. Why do you think they did that, Ben, any idea?
Why they flip-flopped?
Yeah.
Probably because at the end of the day, when you reclassify something as big as the internet into a utility, there's going to be a lot more regulation, a lot more red tape, a lot more people that you have to hire on just to deal with all the, the legal side of it.
But didn't that occur to them? Didn't that occur to them when they were pushing for it?
I'm sure it did for one part of the company, but they're talking to the what was this gentleman's title? He is the chief financial officer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure for the CEO and maybe even the CTO, this pushing for Title I would have been perfect, or I'm sorry, Title II would have been perfect.
Mm-hmm.
But for the CFO, the guy in charge of the money, he's probably not too pleased because now he has to spend a bunch of money to make sure he complies and all this. But even though he still says that he's still happy with the ruling, it's not like he's just like, oh no, wait, no, we made a mistake. Everyone go back to it the way it was. No, he's still happy that it went through because essentially now they have a way of going about if an ISP starts starts yanking them around, they now have some kind of way to go back and say, hey, this is a utility, you can't be controlling it like that. Yada yada yada. So they're still happy. It's just they're not as happy as they could have been.
Okay. All right.
Which, at the end of the day, we got what we wanted. We got Title II, so that's good.
All right.
All right. Something also a little borderline political, but hey, this is pretty funny. This is the senator on subcommittee for technology has quote unquote never sent an email. Yes. So, well, it turns out that Republican South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham has never sent an email, ever. While talking about the Hillary Clinton home email server issue, which we skipped over, by the way, our bad, Chuck Todd asked if Graham had a private email account. He said, I don't email. You can have every email I've ever sent. I've never sent one, said the lawmaker who sits on the Senate Subcommittee for Privacy, Technology, and the Law, among three other things. I don't know what that makes me. So, he said that it's just more practical for him to talk to people either in person or on the phone. But I think what's really shocking about this is that this is someone who, I don't care about your political affiliation at all. This is just one of those things where a senator who is on the subcommittee for technology has never used something as basic as an email, which people have been using since like the mid-90s.
Yeah. Wow. How old is he?
He is. He's one of the older ones. He has to be close to 65.
Yeah. But
maybe even 70.
Never sent an email, yet he sits on the subcommittee for technology. I mean, it's a little ironical. I mean, if you're in that kind of how can you legislate on something that you don't know anything about, because you haven't used it yourself personally?
We hear all the time about people who have to help politicians, write or review, or maybe they sit on subcommittees and like they have to hear testimonials from people out in the field, and it's like they were talking about privacy and Bitcoin mining and things like that. Like they try to explain these things that even our audience, after listening to us ramble on about technology for multiple hours a day for years, something like Bitcoin mining, something like torrenting, something like the Onion router, these things that are pretty involved, concepts. Imagine explaining that to someone who's never, troubleshooted their own computer, who's never sent an email, who has never opened a computer up and looked inside of it, who has never, gone through the internet and set up their own Facebook account. Things that are so basic. These people who are on the national spotlight to, regulate it and oversee it have never touched technology so much.
Yeah.
There's that one in California when they were talking about SOPA and PIPA, and like the lead drafter of PIPA, I think, was a senator from California, and she was like 84 years old. And let me tell you, not exactly the most proficient in technology, and yet here she was proposing PIPA.
Mm.
You know, the thing that would essentially cripple the internet.
Yeah. Well, Fort in the chat room makes a statement. He says, sure, because politicians never lie. Although I asked him why would he say that. I mean, there's no advantage to saying it, but he says because he doesn't have a grand jury coming for his email server in the basement.
Well, yeah, they'll come, looking for his emails. But then again, if you're, let's say you're the FBI, and you wanted to look for the FBI's email, because you have to keep your records for 7 years. The FBI can just send an email and say, "Oh yeah, we lost all of our data from more than a year ago. Our bad," and life just goes on. So
Yeah. Well.
there's definitely two sides of the story here, but yeah, no, it's many times politics and technology, as much as people don't like mixing them, they don't always play well. So
Yeah. Well, well, here's a story. If you have something to hide.
nice segue.
Yeah, I mean, you actually brought this one. This is from a website it says glasses protect from facial recognition. AVG, there's the people who make the software, antivirus software.
They make antivirus software, yep.
They reveal eyewear to protect your identity from facial recognition programs. It might not be so obvious, but AVG thinks we need to worry about how our facial photos are thrown about online. So the company has introduced a simple solution. They've hacked a hacked eyeglass frame. When you look at these things, they look really bizarre because they have little LEDs sticking out of them. They look about as fashionable as as nothing I can think of. But basically, there are two main ways these eyeglasses can protect against automatic recognition. The first one uses infrared lights that beam, which are infrared light is visible to camera sensors but not to the naked eye. When you wear the glasses with embedded infrared in a photo op, software will be unable to use algorithms to recognize your face in the photo because your head glows. The second pair uses retroreflective materials in the glasses surface to return the flash directly back at the camera. This means the eyes will be surrounded by a halo of light that will also make it hard for computers to tag a face. However, this solution only works with flash photography or if there is a strong enough light source to reflect from the camera's angle. So basically, the most secure one is the one with the infrared LEDs because that really doesn't rely on external light sources. I don't know who would wear this. It's just proof of concept for now. But you really got to be paranoid or have something to hide to wear these glasses. And I think the mere fact that it would show up that they couldn't read, just seeing your eyes glow like that on the photograph would be, we got to get this guy. We don't know who he is, but there's some reason we can't get his face.
Oh, really? So if I was walking around wearing these, I'd be jumped by people just because I was wearing them?
I would think so, because you shouldn't be, you should. I don't know.
Who's paying you, Craig? Whose payroll are you on to downput privacy?
I'm not downputting. I'm just saying that it's kind of obvious. Who
has you bankroll, Craig?
If you're wearing
open up your accounts, Craig. We need to see your income.
Yeah, if you're wearing these things, then you're obviously trying to hide something. Now
that's like saying people who tint their windows need to be arrested because they're hiding things in their car.
Well, they could be. Who knows? It's some states it's illegal to tint your windows. You know that. Now you might think that donning these glasses is just like wearing a tinfoil hat, but what if you knew that over 70,000 security cameras stream video unprotected online? The streams include 11,000 in the U.S. alone. Were easy to watch via CCAM.com before the website was shut down. The insecure cameras inside homes, as offices, parking lots, schools, coupled with the abundance of photos on social media, can make it easier to find anyone at any time. Yeah, so I'm definitely a privacy advocate. It's just that this might be a funky way to go about doing it. That's my opinion.
Well, it's good to know that technology can be defeated by other technology, even if it's simple. Like the day that there's technology out there that can't be defeated, then you're in trouble.
Okay. All right. So what else we got?
Oh, what else we got? Just looking through some of these, there's a lot of stuff about Apple for obvious reasons. The Apple TV price fell from $99 to $69. So if you're ever looking to get into that racket, might want to jump on that because it just dropped $30. Also, apparently the HBO Now, which is the standalone service for HBO,
Yeah.
going to cost $15 a month that we talked about earlier, is going to be an Apple TV exclusive first, or at least is coming to Apple TV first.
I meant to mention. I left that out. You're right. They actually opened up with the HBO Now. They had the guy from HBO.
Which is big news.
Yeah, it was big news. Yes, it was. Okay.
But all that instead, we're going to do this one. This is about Sling TV. We talked to Sling when they were out at CES this year. We've had them on the show before, and Sling TV notches 100,000 users in 1 month.
Wow.
Yep. So Dish's Sling TV streaming video service is off to a solid start with more than 100,000 subscribers on board after 1 month. So Sling TV is a $20 per month service that includes live TV from ESPN, CNN, AMC, and subscribers can tack on $5 per month add-on bundles around themes such as sports, news, and movies. There's no DVR functionality, but some channels offer on-demand content and allow users to watch several days of past programming. This was supposedly a very big tool for cord cutters. Those who don't want to pay for the entire service, but for if you were interested in any of the programming offered by Sling TV, then for $20, and then you could kind of tack on just what you wanted. It was a much cheaper solution for cord cutting.
Yes.
So to put the 100,000 subscribers number in context, consider that roughly 100 million homes subscribe to paid TV services in the U.S. Sling TV is just a sliver of the overall market, and it likely got a boost by offering big discounts on Fire TV and Roku. Still, it certainly looks like the service has momentum with new channels and bundles coming online after the initial launch. Just last week, Sling added AFC and IFC to the core bundle and created a new quote-unquote Hollywood add-on with movies from Epix and the Sundance Channel. It's hard to believe new networks would sign on if they didn't see Sling TV as an opportunity. So Sling TV off to a good start, adding new content all the time. If you're looking to cut the cord, very, very, very much affordable compared to a full-blown cable bill.
Right. Well, again, you just have to be careful, though, that as you subscribe to more and more of these services, that you don't wind up paying more for the individual products than you would with a cable.
That's
company.
not true.
Or some. Yeah.
That's not true.
Well, you pay $8 for CBS, another $8 for Netflix, another $8 for the HBO. Basically you could wind up paying more.
Yeah, if you buy everything.
Well, if you buy just
why would you buy everything?
Well, I want everything.
Then stick with cable. That seems like you're their market. But if you're someone like me who's just looking for entertainment when I sit down at my computer, Netflix and maybe a handful of other channels is all I want.
Yeah.
It's like, and that shouldn't cost me $120 a month. That should just cost me $20 here, $30 here.
And by the way, Apple TV dropped the price down to $69.
I just said that.
Yeah, exactly. That was I was also at the keynote too. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. All right. So then, now we haven't talked about Skipper. Skipper is the first Android TV box with cable TV pass-through. So if you missed Google TV's cable and satellite video integration, an upcoming Android TV box from Skipper could be the first suitable replacement. When the first Google TV boxes arrived in 2010, a key feature was their ability to hook up to your cable or satellite box via HDMI input. This allowed users to watch live TV and streaming video through the same interface, with added features like universal search across all video sources. But the Google TV platform was a failure. Of course, they came out with Chromecast, which has been amazingly successful. But last year Google pressed reset with a new living room platform called Android TV while setting the old Google TV out to pasture. Android TV is a vast improvement thanks to its simpler interface and genuinely interesting hardware, but the current crop of set-top boxes lacked HDMI pass-through. Okay, and if you wanted cable or satellite integration, you had to buy a new television with Android TV built in. But here comes Skipper, a company that's working on ad skipping technology for live TV. And last month, Skipper will recognize when a commercial comes on and whisk you away to alternative programming such as your local forecast, a screensaver, or music. Then you'll return to the original show automatically when the commercials are over. Let me tell you why I don't like that. Not that I don't like it. I think it's a poor substitute. This is really not skipping a commercial, because
it's filling that downtime with other information other than ads.
Yeah, but when I'm watching a show, and then the commercial comes on, if I have to wait 3 minutes of commercials between the show, so okay, I'm not watching a commercial. I'm watching 3 minutes of alternative programming or something else, or just listening to music. I say that's a poor man's not the term I'm looking for, but it's a poor substitute. I mean, when you want to watch TV and you want to watch it without commercials, you want to skip over what they got, the Hopper or something on from a dish.
The Hopper, DVR, time-shifted television, you name it.
Yeah, right, exactly. Just substituting some alternative programming is an interruption of the program that you're focusing on, and it really isn't going to be, at least in my opinion, or at least to me myself, I wouldn't say this is anything better. I'm still waiting 3 minutes for commercial to finish and then go back. It's almost like, okay, I'm going to play music and I'm going to sit here listening to elevator music while I'm not watching. So it's boring. I think it's a poor substitute. It's an interesting idea, but I don't think it's going to really do solve the problems of skipping.
Yeah. No, because that's the whole thing behind DVRs and time shifting is you save yourself those 3 minutes. It's not that commercials somehow make your eyes bleed and grow your prostate. It's the fact that you want those 3 minutes to be spent somewhere else. You want those cumulative 9 minutes spent elsewhere than sitting in front of your TV or watching something else.
Right. So you get to the show and then you're off it. So you see the show more quickly.
Not the fact that you're watching ads is that you're saving time. Which with this you're not really.
No.
It's we have about 4 more minutes left. I really want to get the story in here because I found it a couple days ago. Didn't get a chance to, but I love it. Samsung, they have a high-tech doghouse that has an automated feeder, a tablet TV, and a hot tub. Yeah. So with so many companies building smart homes for humans, it's about time someone thought of the pets. Think of the dogs. Think of the dogs. As part of the Crufts Dog Show happening this week, Samsung has put together a dream doghouse. While it's not quite as advanced as some of the connected home tech you can buy yourself, it does include an automated feeder with a wall-mounted Galaxy Tab S, which serves as a doggy television. In addition, the high-tech doghouse has an AstroTurf treadmill and a hydrotherapy pool. The walls are lined with paw-printed patterns and family photos, and the TV lounge has a handful of pooch-sized pillows for added comfort. Samsung only produced one of these doghouses and has already given it away in a contest, so you're out of luck if you were actually tempted to spoil your dog. But at an estimated $30,000 to build, it was probably going to be cost prohibitive anyways. So, yeah, I thought that was a cool story.
Yeah, I did too. It's a cute little dog too.
They have a dog. It's probably the Samsung Dream Doghouse if you want to look it up on YouTube, and it debuted during the Crufts Dog Show.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't think we have time to do another story. So again, let me just take this time to mention our Computer America website. And again, just go onto the Interact menu. That's the first pull-down menu, and you can see where it says Enter Contests, and you see the Logitech contests where we're giving away the 3 great prizes. The third place prize is the Logitech HD Webcam C310, valued at $50. The second place prize is the Logitech G400S optical gaming mouse, valued at $60. It's a corded mouse, gamer's delight. And then the grand prize is the Logitech X300 mobile wireless stereo speaker, valued at $70. head over to the Logitech contest page. The form is right there on the page itself. Put your name, email address, and phone. Again, and hit the submit button. It's completely private. We give your information, all of our contests, we give your information out to no one, unless you're a winner, and then we'll give your contact info so they can mail you your prize. But that's it. So head over to our contest page. Also, we have our show reminder winner of the week. We give away that Logitech T650 glass wireless touchpad valued at $80. Enter in all of our contests. Subscribe to our weekly email newsletter. It's all free. There's no reason to do it because the show reminder is the only publication in the universe that's going to tell you who's going to be in the show for the entire week, and you can see that. So you can kind of mark what shows you want to go see. Although you should be listening to every Computer America show here. And then let's see what else. We have our video streaming page. I mentioned that to you as well. It's at our website. Everything we do here at Computer America is at our website. If you miss a show, you can go to our archives page. You can see all the different places. Our Apple iTunes. We have a link to the iTunes on your web browser, or to launch the application. We have the RSS feed from Blog Talk
90
Radio.
seconds.
Our video archives are up there too. We actually have a link to our very own YouTube channel where you can not only listen to but watch all of our video archives. They're all up there for your information. So check it out at computeramerica.com. Coming up tomorrow night is our Gamer Tuesday night with Grayson Hamilton.
Yay!
Yay! It's all about games, and more computer games. Gray is our Computer America Gamer correspondent.
60 seconds.
And we're going to be talking about computer games with him. If you like games,
Also, we are going to have big news concerning our Gamer Tuesdays, so you definitely want to be there tomorrow to hear what that is.
Yes, it is. Yeah, exactly. Good point. And you'll hear about that as well at Computer America. But also, Gray has all the things he's going to be talking about, and it's going to be like the GDC, what's going on with that, and the Internet Bulletin. Anyway, you'll hear all about it tomorrow night. So until tomorrow night, this is Craig Crossman hoping that your hard disk never becomes floppy. Have a great evening. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Good night, everyone.
10 seconds. Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Okay, everybody, again, thanks for watching our live Computer America video stream. And we'll see you tomorrow night on your Gamer Tuesday night with Grayson Hamilton. Again, some news we're going to be announcing there as well, okay?
Yep.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.